Today we have the video that we've all been waiting for. The Friedman IR-X versus the UAFX Lion 68. Now, a few years ago when UAFX first came around, I got the Reverberator pedal, reverb pedal. Sounds absolutely amazing. One of my favorite pedals to this day. And then they started coming out with the amp lines. They came out with like a Fender style, a Vox style, and kind of another Fender style, I believe. And I was just waiting patiently for their Marshall style amp to come around. And they had me just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, I was like, they're going to do it. But the Friedman IR-X came out. And I'm like, well, I love Friedman. It's one of my favorite sounds. I went ahead and got the Friedman IR-X. And then shortly after, the Lion 68 came out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just got the Friedman. I want to try out the Lion, but I don't know. I'm really happy with the Friedman. I'm not sure if I can buy it right now. But I waited a few months. And finally, earlier this year, I ordered the Lion 68 just to really see how it was and compared if I like it better than the Friedman or like what are the perks of having the Lion 68. Do they do the same thing? Do they do similar things? Which one is better? Now, price-wise, they're pretty comparable. The Lion 68 is about $399, $400, and the Friedman IR-X is about $500. So they're pretty similar. They're both pretty simple, I would say. The UAFX Lion 68 is definitely more modern. Now, the IR-X does have an app with it, but you don't really control everything because most of it's really analog. But what's cool about the UAFX is you have an app, you can kind of save presets and all that. And you can kind of do that with IR-X, but it's not going to be a tonal preset. It's going to be like an IR preset or something like that. Now, one thing that's very important to me when it comes to these little amp-in-the-box style pedals is how portable they actually are. And for this one, I'm going to have to give the points to the Lion 68 because it's a little bit smaller. And also the power's kind of more generic 9-volt power. They're both very easy to power up, but I would kind of give the portability. It's a little bit smaller. It fit on a pedal board. I'm going to give the kind of portability and obviously price to the UAFX Lion because it's $100 cheaper and it's a little bit more portable. Now, one big thing I want to talk about is the versatility between these two pedals, and that's going to bring us to kind of the tone and then also kind of the avenue of where we would use this with a pedal board and how it works for someone's rig. So a lot of people would probably buy one of these things as it could be their main rig, but often it might be their backup rig. And what's really cool, and I have to give kind of some points in the versatility of the Lion, is you can kind of have it on your pedal board all the time, but have it off and be running into your normal amp. Say you're using Overdrive pedals into like a front of a clean Fender amp or something like that, you can have it on your pedal board ready to go at all times, but not be using it at all. Like it's not going to be affecting your tone. But if something happens to that amp and you want to go direct, it's right there. You don't have to change anything on your pedal board. You probably don't even have to change what cable. You just go right into the mixing board or to a DI box and you're good to go. You don't have to really change anything. Now the Friedman IR-X though, the problem, you can have it on your board, but it can't be wired up because if it's wired up, it's on. So if it's the same circumstance, you're on a pedal board, you're using like overdrive pedals and delays into a front of an amp or something. If the IR-X is in the signal chain, it is on. It's affecting your tone quite drastically. So you can have it on your pedal board, but it can't be hooked up. So if something happens, you're going to have to rewire your pedal board live when this is all happening. So in that instance, if you're using it as a backup and you want it on your pedal board ready to go, I mean, the Lion 68 is pretty versatile and effective in that way. It's just kind of set up, ready to go at any time. You just click it on when you need it, or you leave it off when you don't need it. All right, now I got them both set up. Very similar IRs, both kind of greenback 30-watt variants. And I'm going for kind of a cleaner sound, not like sparkling Fender clean, but kind of a clean, light crunch maybe. Everything's at noon on the Lion, both volumes, all the equalization, and then everything is at noon with the Friedman IR-X as well. We're going to start off with the IR-X. Actually, I just switched over to the bass on the Lion, and it actually kind of sounds more like the IR-X. It's very interesting. I'm going to turn up a little bit of volume 1, which is more of the bright sound on the Lion. gonna turn the gain up on the IR-X channel 1 a little bit more. I think that's been enough for the kind of lower gain sound. Low gain, 100%. I'm giving it to the Friedman, especially on the last kind of go round. It's like more instant and more full. There's something in the Lion in the kind of high mids, probably around 3K, 4K, that's a little anemic and a little weak. But I also will say it's very obvious that these pedals, they don't really sound the same. They have a very different sound. I will say the Lion is more kind of vintage. It's definitely trying to get that more vintage Marshall sound. The Friedman's got its own thing going. All right, I'm going to move over to channel 2 on the Friedman IR-X, and then I'm going to actually stay on the lead channel on the Lion and just crank up the gain or volume 1, kind of the 10, kind of find a close sounding thing to compare. If you would like to support me and this channel, go check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. Over there, you'll find tons of great guitar lessons, all with tab, covering scales, licks, techniques, and much more. You also get early access to videos, and you can sign up for one-on-one lessons with me. Thank you guys so much for the support. Let's get back to the video. I'm gonna turn the bass up a little bit on the IR-X. All right, I'm gonna dime all the controls. This is the lead channel on the Lion. All right, let's go back to the IR-X, and we're gonna turn up the gain probably to 3 o'clock or so. Turn the treble and the bass up a little bit. See, these actually sound completely different. These, like the Lion's definitely more Marshall, kind of hot rod and Marshall right now. I'll switch back to it. Back to the IR-X, which is definitely more modern sounding. I'm gonna put the tight switch on right now. Oh, that's a little bit closer actually. But now I feel like it needs some bass, so I'm gonna turn that up. All right, back to the Lion. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my final conclusions. The Lion 68 sounds really good. To be honest, they're not the most comparable things as I would have expected. They're very, they get high gain and stuff like that, but the Lion's definitely in its territory of old hot rod and Marshall thing, and the Friedman is kind of that, but there's still something completely different with it tonally. And I think for that was kind of the mid to high gain right there. I kind of did it all in one. I am gonna go IR-X again. because now I'm not actually using the IR that I love the most, and I just found the kind of comparable one. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Friedman IR-X. I just like the sound better. There's more sustain, reacts better, and it's still something that mid. The line's very bright and sparkly, which is great, but right below that sparkle in the probably 5K roughly is just a little weak, little kind of lacking support and like balls in that area, where the IR-X, I feel like it has it. Also, there's kind of a, I don't know if depth is the right word. It might be the right word. There's like, it might be a depth thing with the line. It's not as depth. There's not as much depth as the IR-X. And also it's, there's like a scratchy quality to the line. That the IR-X is very smooth in that area, which I like, and I find it's more real amp-like. A couple other things that we're not going to go over today, like demonstration-wise, but I've experimented with other pedals in front of these units, at least. I've tried overdrive pedals, Univibe and phaser and a wah. The Lion sounds good with those, but with the IR-X, it feels like it's right in front of a great tube amp, and there's a certain reaction overdrive has. It feels like the overdrive in front of the IR-X can do what it wants to do as an overdrive pedal, and then in front of the Lion, it just gets squashed and harsh and digital sounding. And then the same thing kind of with the Univibe, especially, is like the Univibe kind of got lost going into the Lion. I'm not sure why. It just kind of lost its character. But in the IR-X, I felt like it kept that character. There's probably more different versatile sounds in the Lion, but for me, if I was on a pedal board and I wanted to use overdrives with it and all this stuff, it can be done, but it's kind of, I feel like, converting the whole signal to a very digital sounding signal. Even if you have the best overdrive pedal and other pedals in front of it, it's going to just kind of tamp down on that greatness of that pedal and not let it kind of be what it wants to do. The IR-X, however, I feel like it's full on. When those overdrives sound like when I put a tube screamer in front of it, it sounds like there's a great tube screamer in front of it. Same thing with the Univibe or a wah. I kind of see the Lion as more of a backup. Like it's on the pedal, like kind of I talked about earlier. It's on the pedal board ready to go if something happens to your main rig. Boom, this is ready to go. Just one kind of button, you move a cable or so, ready to go. The IR-X, I don't think it's meant to be like just a backup that's on your pedal board. It's meant to be like your full-on rig. We could have the clean channel set up pretty clean, and then we could have a crunch built in, obviously, on channel 2. You don't have to crank the gain too much, but then we have the boost, and we can either make that a solo boost or we can make that just a gain boost. It get us to, on the clean channel, it gives a little boost to kind of make it spark a little bit more, or on the second channel, put us in super high gain territory, all in one unit. So, the Lion, we have preset and like kind of the normal thing. We can't really switch through all these different options. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. For me, in the moment here, playing it, going back and forth, I'm giving it to the Friedman IR-X. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. I'll see you guys back next time.